Hello, my name is Ryan Ashker. Welcome to the Sports News on CW57, your home for local high school, collegiate, and club sports. This week we visit with Evansville, Madison East High School, and much more. It's the Sports News brought to you in part by the Red Zone. Now let's get you off the bench and into the game. Former Sun Prairie basketball standout Nick Neskowiak announced over the weekend that he is leaving Iowa State. Neskowiak makes his announcement just one day after the team announced he was being suspended indefinitely after facing charges of operating while intoxicated and felony reckless endangerment. Before heading to Iowa State, the former Sun Prairie guard committed to Marquette University, but was later released from his national letter of intent. Former Milwaukee Brewer and current Houston Astro Mike Fiers threw a no-hitter against the LA Dodgers late last week, picking up a 3-0 win for his new club. Fiers struck out 10 while walking 3 on his way to the no-no. Fiers, who was dealt to the Astros in the Carlos Gomez trade for the Brewers, retired the final 21 batters he faced. Green Bay Packers have announced a new $65 million commitment to an expansion project dubbed Titletown District. The expansion will build on 34 acres west of Lambeau Field that will host year-round community events. The Kohler Company has already signed on with a hotel project. Bell & Health will also feature a medical facility on campus. Packers CEO and President Mark Murphy was quoted as saying, "We see Titletown as a long-term, authentic neighborhood to attract and retain people. The community has kept this franchise going. With the support we've received, Lambeau Field has become a destination." The Milwaukee Bucks have signed free agent forward and former Badger Marcus Landry. Landry, who went undrafted after his 4 seasons at the University of Wisconsin, has played professionally in the NBA D-League as well as Spain, Puerto Rico, China, and Venezuela. He started his professional career in 2009 with the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks. Landry was named to the Futures All-Star roster for the 2013 NBA D-League All-Star Game and won the three-point shootout. Milwaukee Brewers current outfielder Ryan Braun has become the franchise's leader in home run hitting, surpassing Robin Yount with his 252nd dinger last week. Braun said it was a very humbling experience, surpassing arguably the greatest Brewer in franchise history, Robin Yount. Just a reminder to our viewers, the CW57 is your home for high school football. Join us all 9 weeks of the regular season as we cover 18 local teams. It's the return of the A1 Furniture Bowl series right here on CW57 Sports. This week we'll be heading to Janesville for the Janesville Bowl, pitting Janesville Parker against Janesville Craig. Games air Saturdays at 4 and Sundays on 3 right here on CW57. We'll be back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we're joined by Madison East Football. That is Coach Steve Arado, Dale Tygum, and Ruben Arndt. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Understand you guys got a big, exciting win on opening night. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was great. It feels right. You know, it doesn't feel like an anomaly. It feels like it's what we prepared for, and we want it to keep happening.
And you mentioned this is obviously something you guys prepared for. What do you credit the win for? What kind of stuff did you guys work on in the preseason to be able to come out of the gates right away?
Yeah, well, we give it to God first, but we got a great coaching staff and really, really close brotherhood. I'm really proud of all my guys, and I think we're closer than the team has ever been in the past. So we play as a family and we play together, and I think that's what'll pull it through.
Now, were there any key plays, big plays in the game that let you guys succeed?
Yeah, Mario Kelly Lemon had a big interception that really changed the pace of the game for us, gave us momentum back, and we went and punched it in a score to take the lead back.
Very nice. Now, what about for the rest of the season, looking right ahead? I know you guys are taking it one game at a time. Who's your next opponent?
We play Madison West at Bree Stevens, opening the field up for the first time ever.
Wow, that's very exciting to be able to play at Bree Stevens. There's a lot of history at that stadium, obviously. What led to you guys being able to play that game? And that's a rivalry game as well.
Yeah, we were approached by the city when they resurfaced the stadium back in October last year, and they asked if we wanted to play there, and the district said yes, so we started to kind of get the ball rolling of getting the facilities ready to go. And what a great way to open the stadium up that hasn't been played in about 40 years to go against your rival West. So they kind of got the ball rolling when the city resurfaced the field, and we just stepped in, and that's going to be our home field this year.
Wow, that is exciting. That's really cool stuff. That's an honor to be able to play on a field like that. What about the rest of the season? Any games you guys have circled on the calendar? Anything you're really looking forward to?
Friday. We only go one game at a time. We talk to our kids about that. We don't look forward. It's 1-0 every week we try to get to and just look at the next game. We can't really worry about what happens after that. We just worry about Friday.
Absolutely.
What about goals for the upcoming season? We know we're 1-0 so far. Looking ahead, what do you see ahead for the Madison East program?
Well, good things. We're playing well offensively to start the season, and I think our defense has come along pretty well. But again, it's just worried about one game at a time. And again, we can't look forward too much. Our goals are just get better every day and work as a team and develop a bond and just try to get better each day to hopefully take care of that one game on Friday.
Understandable. Well, we want to wish you guys the best of luck on the rest of the football season. That is Dale Tygum, Ruben Arndt, and Coach Steve Arado. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Thank you
very much.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by Coach Michael Maves of the Evansville Albany Blue Devils. Coach, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the team. How are you guys looking this year?
Well, we're looking good. We got some nice kids coming back on both sides of the ball. We're hoping to be in the top 3 teams in the conference this year, and it's going to be a tough conference. There's a lot of parity this year, and a lot of good players coming back.
So you said your goal is to finish in the top 3 of the conference this year. Who are you going to be battling with to try to get up there and get some wins?
Well, I tell you, I coach with Coach Crandall over in East Troy in the All-Star game this year, and he expects his team to be pretty good, and they got some nice players coming back. Jefferson, Steve Gee he coached the North or the South Big School this year in the Shrine Bowl. He's going to have a great team, and Mike Gregory and Edgerton. It's going to be tough. It's going to be 4 or 5 teams right there.
Now, who do we have for returners? Any players to watch as the season unfolds?
We have our backfield back from last year, which is pretty rare. You got all 3 backs coming back, Rudders, Banks, and Riker Brown. And we have our quarterback coming back. Offensive, I'm the offensive coordinator, so I'm kind of listing them first, but our tackle, Rue Piper, is coming back in our center. So we got 8 starters back on offense. We got to fill some line spots, and that's kind of what we're focusing on right now. There's a nice competition in camp right now for that.
Now, what is the team strength? I would imagine returning all your backs probably have a pretty solid running game this season.
Yep, as long as we can create some holes, I know those guys can run the ball.
Okay.
And our defense is actually, I would say, our strength this year. We have a defense that flies around, and they did pretty well week 1.
Now, any preseason surprises, any players that maybe jumped out that you weren't necessarily expecting?
Yeah, there's on the defensive side of the ball, there's some defensive linemen. One guy's name's Noah Pagel that has been really a force inside. He's just had a great offseason lifting, and it's translated to some plays on the field. And then offensively, we have a couple guys that have really shown in the preseason. Some more backup positions to add depth.
Fantastic, and we know coming up later this season, we'll be covering a big rivalry here on CW57, that Evansville-Edgerton matchup. Coach Maves, thank you so much for joining us here on the Sports News today.
You bet.
That's Coach Michael Maves of the Evansville Albany Blue Devils. We'll be back for more of the Sports News in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we're joined by Jeff Schmuel, race car driver. He races up at the Dodge County Fairgrounds Speedway, among other tracks over the summer. Jeff, thanks for joining us here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ryan.
So talk to us a little bit about some of the upcoming events at the Fairgrounds. I understand there's still a couple races left on the schedule.
Yeah, actually the 30th of August will be our final points night for our IMCA divisions, and we're going to be joined by the Dirt Devil class. It's a 4-cylinder car, pretty much bringing it off the street, put a roll cage in, so we look forward to having them.
Fantastic, that's exciting stuff. That's kind of cheaper entry-level racing for people trying to get in the sport, right?
Yeah, and there's quite a few of them out there, so we should have a pretty big car count for them.
Now for you, how's the season gone so far?
We've had kind of ups and downs, but for the most part it's gone pretty well. We've had 5 feature wins, 2 out at the Fairgrounds, and we're leading points out there with 1 night to go.
Fantastic. Now, one of the unique things that goes on up at the Fairgrounds Speedway in Dodge County is how much interaction that fans can have with the drivers and getting a chance to meet them, whether it's pit tours that they do with the kids or fan events. And we understand there was a fan event a couple weeks ago where you had was it about a 3-foot tall Superman doll you gave away to a member of the kids club?
Yes, I did, because we're kind of known for being the Superman car on the track. So that was for Fan Appreciation Night, we gave away that Superman doll. It was pretty cool.
Fantastic stuff. Now, what about wins, season stats? Where are you at in points? I understand you said you're in the lead. How many wins have you had? How does that translate?
Per night, the most points we can gain is 40 points a night. And so far, I've won 2 features, and we're currently leading by 4 points with 1 night to go. So we need to have a good, strong finish that last night.
All right. Now, what is the history of the Speedway? We know the Dodge County Fairgrounds. We've talked to some people from there so far this season. They haven't had racing a lot in the past, but it does have a rich history. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, it's actually, there was quite a few years that there was no racing out there besides a couple special events per year, and this is the first year we brought it back full time. I grew up out there watching a lot of dirt track racing every weekend, so a lot of history for me and watching a lot of drivers out there.
I was right there with you growing up. Now, tell us a little bit about, we want to make sure we have a chance to thank your sponsors, find out what maybe your future plans are at the track.
Yeah, I'd like to, huge thanks to my sponsors this year, go out to Hammerhead International out of Las Vegas, Nevada, the Dump of Cambria, I've got The Hill, Johnny's Lounge, Tim Patrick Transmission and Auto, Ready Lock, and S&S Lawn Care, and Vic's Auto out of Horicon. And huge Ultimate Race Cars, which is my brand new car for this year.
That's a fast car. I had a chance to see that on and off this year as well. Jeff, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by Michael Maves and Grady Maves of the Evansville Blue Sox. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
So what are the Evansville Blue Sox? Give us some more information about that.
Well, the Evansville Blue Sox is a youth baseball organization that was started by a group of parents that wanted their kids were a little more invested in the game of baseball. In Evansville, we have like a rec program, little league program, and they just wanted something more, I guess.
Understandable. Now, with this youth program, what is the age range? When do kids start? How long can they stay in the program?
Well, we started out with the group of parents. It was at the time it was a 10U program, and those kids are now 12U. And then we started an 11U program, and now another 9U program. So we have 3 total teams involved.
So how does that differ from maybe other Little League or travel sort of teams and programs?
I would say the big difference is the competitive level. We do have a rec Little League program that I help run, and I'm very proud of in Evansville. And we have all the kids that are involved in it. And we encourage all the Blue Sox players to actually play in that rec program. But not everyone, baseball's their thing. They just want to do that, for the Little League. And these kids have a little more invested. And what sets us up a little different is, I think, the cost. If you look at some of those big club programs, you're paying $1,200, $1,500, and what we do is we do a couple fundraisers. The kids do a meat raffle, and they do a couple other things, and it keeps the cost down. And some kids that couldn't afford to be on a club team are on this team. They don't pay a dime.
Oh, wow, fantastic. Now, is this just a summer program, or what does the season run?
Well, we start as soon as basketball season gets done. We try not to cross over to other sports programs. We don't try to interfere with the other seasons. We encourage our kids to be 3-sport athletes. So as soon as the basketball season's done, we start throwing in the gym, and then we move outside, and then it ends in August. There's some kids that do a fall ball, but like I said, we try not to interfere with football or soccer for that.
Now, how many games are in a season? How often do the kids get to play?
A lot of it depends on the age. The older kids play a lot more. The younger kids, the first travel team is made up of those Little League kids that want to do a little extra. So they start with a total like 4 travel games, and then it picks up dramatically years after that. So the 10, the 11, and the 12-year-olds play much more than the 9-year-olds, and it's focused on a little more tournament type play.
Understandable. Well, Coach Maves and Grady, thank you two so much for joining us here on the Sports News today.
All right, thanks for having us.
Michael Maves and Grady Maves of the Evansville Blue Sox will be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by a very special guest. He's achieved what only very few golfers have ever achieved, and that was recently winning the British Open in St. Andrews along with his Masters in 2007. It is Zach Johnson joining us here in the Sports News today. Zach, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So what I just mentioned, that's something only 6 golfers have ever done before. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I kind of got the news about that, pretty recent after my win at St. Andrews, but I guess there's been 6 guys that win at St. Andrews and Augusta. So very special. 2 venues in sports that you can argue are the best, certainly in the game of golf, and something that I will always remember and cherish. Especially having my wife there to greet me and to be with me that week, it just made it even that much more special.
I could imagine. And I'm assuming I didn't get a chance to see it, but you were up here in Wisconsin this past weekend for the PGA Championship, were you not?
I was there Monday through Friday, basically. My week was cut short by 1 shot, but I did not perform well, and no, that's okay. I mean, it is part of the game. It is part of my job. If anything, I think what's great about it, if you want to turn it into positives, I know exactly what I need to work on. I didn't hit my driver like I'm accustomed to, and certainly on the PGA Tour, specifically in a major, you got to get that ball in the fairway, and I just didn't do it enough.
That's a really rough course. I had the opportunity to play there and I didn't even take it because I'm a horrible golfer the way it is. So I would have lost every ball I owned.
Yeah, no, it's a brutal test. It's a great test. I think it. I don't necessarily think it favors anybody to an extent. But right on Lake Michigan, if you didn't know where you were in the world, you would have thought it was an ocean. A bluff looking over the ocean there. The temperatures probably would have given it away. It's not Ireland because it was hot. But they've done a really nice job, and it's a great spot to host a golf tournament.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to kind of come up here and enjoy that. I actually had a chance to go out Sunday myself, and as I said, I'm a horrible golfer, so I'd love to see what it's like to play on your level for just a day. Now, with all the travel you guys do, you're doing tournaments not only all over the country now, but all over the world. How are you able to stay grounded and kind of also have some time for yourself and your family with your hectic tour schedule?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, one of the best parts of my job is I get to travel, see new places, see awesome parts of the world. I get to bring my family occasionally, and it's one of the beauties of my job. But it's also one of the negatives. I mean, I've got 3 kids now. They're in school. I mean, we've already started school in Southeast Georgia. So, you know what? Priorities are priorities. We want to keep home life. We want to keep I guess the simplistic things and the ideals and values that I grew up with instilled in our house, in our home. So the travel becomes difficult. I mean, when it comes down to it, I really prioritize my weeks on and my weeks off. I take advantage of those weeks off. My wife is a big part of that. When I'm on the road, and I can travel with my family, we like to stay in places that make it easy on my kids. Specifically, a sponsor of mine, Country Inns and Suites, for example. The hospitality, just the ability to basically transition from our house to a hotel, and it becomes seamless in that regard. So, you prioritize what's important, and you know what? I have my own foundation. I have my home life with my kids, and those are the 2 things that are, as a competitor, as an athlete, I may not get remembered for that, but that's what I want to be remembered for. I've got great people around me to help me along that route there. Great coaches, great sponsors. Like I said, Country Inns is one of them, who's backing me, backing my foundation. That's what golf's all about. You're able to give back and be a good steward to what's been given to you, and those are the priorities.
It makes it a little bit easier if you have a comfortable, clean place to stay every weekend, I would imagine.
Without question. I mean, I'm on the road probably, well, on the tour schedule 26, 27 weeks, but when you count everything else I got to travel for, it's probably 30 to 33 weeks. And I want to be comfortable. I don't want to get to a place and feel awkward and have, feel stuffy. I want to go to a place that essentially is like a home on the road. And, I'm fortunate that I have a great partner. I would even say a part of my business family, and with Country Inns and Suites and the Carlson Group. I mean, they're tremendous people, first and foremost, that get it and understand what traveling's all about, what business travel is all about in particular. And like I said, my kids, my family are of the utmost priority to me, and that just helps what we're trying to do as a team and as a group.
And I know we just have a couple quick seconds left here. Where can fans see you next? Where are you going to be coming up next to play?
Yeah, no, I've got this week off. I'm doing some things on the road, and then I'll be at home for a brief bit, and then from there, it's to the FedEx Cup playoffs. I mean, we get right back into it. We got a great end of the year, 4 tournaments, the playoffs starting in New Jersey. So I'll be at the Barclays. I believe it's at Plainfield Country Club in about a week's time, and excited to get going. I mean, getting ready to compete and motivated to compete has never been an issue for me. But I do need my rest, and as a result, I've got a week off to get prepared.
Fantastic. And where can our viewers learn more about Country Inn & Suites and your foundation real quick before I let you go?
Yeah, certainly. Well, you can check out, when it comes to me and my foundation at our website, ZachJohnsonGolf.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ZachJohnsonPGA. And you can follow Country Inns online at their website, and then also with their Twitter handle at Country Inns to learn all the information. It's really cool. They're doing a great promo right now. I've been lucky enough to win 12 tournaments, and as a result, I think if you mention my name, I know that might be awkward. I get that, but you might get 12% off on your rate. So a pretty cool gig right there. And you know what? When it comes down to it, they just want to help people, much like myself.
Fantastic. Zach, thank you so much for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Zach Johnson, mention him at Country Inn & Suites. Tell him Zach sent you. You might get a discount on that. I'm going to go follow him on Twitter right now. You guys can follow us as well. We want to thank Zach Johnson. Wish him the best coming up in the FedEx tournament. We'll be back with more of the sports news in just a moment. We want to thank our friends over at the Red Zone for sponsoring the sports news this week. Also want to thank Jeff Schmuel, Coach Maves, and all of our guests for stopping by. Want to thank all of you for tuning in. My name is Ryan Ashker, and stay tuned to CW57 all week long. Keep in mind, we do have the Janesville Bowl coming up this weekend. That's Janesville Parker and Janesville Craig, part of our A1 Furniture Bowl series right here on CW57.